Alright, so I'm going to get started with this match review from the point of view of Wagner, uh, what I was looking for, I guess, and go from there. Round start, okay. Round start normally, you want a dash block, unless you want to commit to a button right there. Wagner's options at round start aren't really good. Uh, all of them are punishable. Uh, she can like 236A, or 66C, or 214 occasionally works sometimes around start, but all of those again are punishable on block. So normally you just want to dash block, get into the range, unless you have the read, in which case you can like 66C, but that's kind of a gamble. Lon gets the first hit, assaults. Yeah, was not blocking there, puts me in the corner, and I shielded the Rekka there. Normally that's only -2, but since I got the shield, it's -5. A Wagner has a 2-frame or 5-frame 5A or 2A, so it's punishable. He DPs. I kind of want to play like this mid-range game because I know like my buttons are really fast there, but Lond is also very slippery. So I'm almost dead. He gets CS, and I'm trying to play around it. I do see him shielding, but he CS's it. DP gets me out of that situation. And now I get a clean hit. Wagner's specialty is in, taking somebody to the corner, doing a lot of damage, and then just like pressuring them. So right now I'm in a very, very good place for me to be in. Lon's buttons aren't exactly good for poking out of pressure. And right there, he went for a really greedy pressure reset, but the gap is enormous. So I saw the gap. I decided to chain shift, get it, because I knew I was gonna kill. Get the chain shift, get a little bit of meter, and that's round 1. So Wagner, another thing that Wagner wants to do in Uniclear is she's all about just hogging resources and then using them in one hit or like one big moment to do a ton of damage, and that's going to happen at the end of this next game here. Again, I dash block. It's generally the safest option. She doesn't really have any good things there, round start. So I'm kind of like content to just block. He gets the hit. I DP. Sometimes you just got to show that you're willing to do stuff. I'm no coward. I'm gonna DP. I take the really obvious throw. I managed to jump out of there in the corner because Landrekia actually does not have good anti-airs he can do on a reaction. He can do like preemptive B Rekka, which flies high in the air. That does have head invul, but that's kind of something he already has to be throwing out. If I'm already jumping at him, if he tried it, he would have probably just got hit by that JC. Alright, he goes low. I'm almost dead here. He drops the combo. And if you notice, I have, full meter. I'm about to win Vorpal, which is this little thing right here. That gives you a 10% damage boost. And also gives you the ability to chain shift, which, I did earlier back here, which is that time freeze. If I can locate it. I was back here earlier. So during that time freeze, you are invul, and it gives you a chance to pause the screen, take a look at what's happening. I saw him doing the 6B, so I decided to chain shift. It also gives you a bit of meter. Chain shift, get the bit of meter, and then go for the kill. So you see something similar happening right here, where I have... I was almost dead. Oh, that's the spoilers. Spoilers, I don't actually die. But right here, I'm about to have all the resources in the world, and I can, be prepared to go on offense and know that I can end this game pretty quickly if the right things happen. So he's got me pressured in the corner. I decided to, I'm not going to take the risk. I'm just going to take the pressure reset because I feel fine with blocking, especially since I have Vorpal. So if he tries to do anything really cheeky, I can chain shift and then just DP him, and then I'm out. So he decides to go with some staggers and goes into Fireball. And right there, I noticed where he was standing. I also noticed that Lon's pokes they're like long, but they're also slow. Wagner's on average are just like pound for pound better. So I noticed the spacing he was at, which is right here, is really good for Wagner. She has 5C, she has 6B. If she does, 5C or 6B, her main poke buttons into her 2-on-4, into a shield charge, that's plus. So you get to retain pressure. So I figured I was just going to swing 5C and do 2-on-4, gain frame advantage, and then go back in again. But he ends up getting hit. These are like the opportunities you really have to look for Wagner. Opportunities where you can just like press buttons and kind of go on the advantage, because a lot of her stuff is like really spacing dependent. The advantage on 2-on-4, how many hits her 2-3-6, her like drill sword card does. That's also spacing dependent. So I get the hit, and this is a really big hit because it was counter hit. I'm not subject to something called distance proration, which is the further your move hits out, the less damage the overall combo does. But that is negated on counter hit. So I get to do max damage from my, one of my best pokes, 5C. This should be like 3.4? Oh, 3.5. Never mind. It's almost 3.6. So he gets taken to corner. 3.6. I noticed I have all the resources here. So Wagner's whole thing, like I had touched on earlier, was Veil Off. So she wants to hog all of her resources. If you notice, I don't think I spent any meter in the first round, because her damage meterless is high enough. She doesn't have any reason. Normally, like most characters in this game, need to stabilize their confirms with meter. Like Aurier, if she does, Divine Thrust, she can't combo off of it unless she either does EX version, which costs meter, or she chain shifts it. Wagner does not have this kind of problem because all of her routing can be stabilized using her buffs, which are all meterless. A lot of characters need to spend meter on a reversal because I think there's only like 6 or 7 characters in this game have meterless reversals. Wagner's one of them. Almost every other character does have a reversal, but they need to spend meter on it. Wagner does not, so she doesn't need to spend meter for that. And Wagner has some of the highest meterless damage off of, normal everyday confirms. They also all take you to the corner, which is where she wants to be. Which basically means, since she doesn't have to spend meter on anything else in order to run her game plan, she can always save it to Veil Off. And what Veil Off does, again, it gives you that 20% damage boost. Chain Shift gives you, or having Vorpal gives you a 10% damage boost. And these stack. So right now, Wagner has a 30% damage boost, along with being able to use both her Infinite Worth and her Infinite Worth EX, which can only be done if you have orange health, as you can see here. So basically now, I know that with the kind of damage I have, with 30% damage output, 30% damage boost, and the ability to end in my Infinite Worth EX, I know that I have a lot of damage on the table, and if the Landrekia messes up even once, he's dead. So I do charge 2-on-4 because that is armored. So if he had reversaled or mashed, the armor would have eaten it and he would have gotten hit. That would have ended the game right there because that does about 70% on hit. 75% actually, now that I have Infinite Worth EX. But I go ahead, I pressure him, and then I shimmy him with 2C. I believe that would have been jump because it wasn't a counter hit. So he probably tried to jump out and got caught by the shimmy. Either that or he tried to stand tech, but I was already far away. So maybe it was like a preemptive stand tech. He's going to run into me. He's going to throw me, because Wagner's throw also does a ton of damage while you're in Veil Off. Like, it can do up to 40%. Actually, it can do up to 50% if you break somebody's shield with it. But I get the 2C. He gets shimmied, and this is actually going to be game. You can see some of Wagner's like crazy damage output. This is why I think she's a very, very strong character. This version, like one of the strongest in the game. And I ended my Infinite Worth EX, and that is going to be it. He died in 2 hits. One of them being from a sweep that's safe on block. So basically there, as Wagner, you always want to be looking for, okay, you know, where can I get my big hits? How much meter do I have? What's the best way to kind of cash out on this Veil Off meter? Like, do I want to go for throw? Because I know they're, you know, really scared of getting hit, and I know the throw is doing a lot of damage anyway. Do I want to, I guess, be greedy, you know, go for frame traps that are higher reward, obviously, but, you know, more susceptible, you know, just being blocked and you wasting your Veil Off meter? Do I want to go for stuff like overheads? Again, lower reward, but it is a mix-up option. You can go for like Assault JA, which is 22 frames. I didn't do that this game, but that's something you can do. You still get around 50% off it at max meter. There's a lot of different things you can do as Wagner, but generally you want to just build a ton of resources, build a ton of meter, figure out the best way to cash out on it with your opponent, and then repeat the process, because she's very good at building meter on block and on hit. And because of Veil Off granting you bonus grid generation, she's also very good at controlling the cycle, which means she's going to have chain shift more, and she's going to be able to, you know, have that increased damage, that increased meter gain, the ability to chain shift for even more meter. So that's basically, you know, what goes through my head as Wagner. You know, how can I basically push this to where I can win as fast as possible, and what do I have to do to build these resources in order to enable this kind of explosive game plan?